Welcome back, WGC fans. I'm Trent Maxwell. I'm here with Ian Hardesty. We're going to try out the new, fresh, hot off the presses, COBRA FORGED TEC X and FORGED TEC irons. We're going to start with the more players iron, which is just the FORGED TEC. This is iteration number 4, and this is by far their best yet. So Ian's going to hit some shots for us, and we'll kind of get his opinion, get his thoughts on them.
I've never played a COBRA iron before.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit of the tech in this?
It's designed to look like a player's iron, feel like a player's iron, but certainly a little hotter than your typical player's iron. It's a little bit bigger than a blade that you.
It does look bigger this way.
It is designed to, again, it's designed to be have a player's look to it, but still have some forgiveness to it as well. So not a blade per se, but it does have that blade appearance to it.
Just a little toe.
Kind of pulled that one, just the hair. Good distance control though. So that's one of the issues that the companies in general sometimes have with that player distance iron, which is what this is just the distance control. So you get some hot spots.
Yeah.
So from what I've seen of this golf club initially, it doesn't have the same hot spots that maybe traditional player distance irons have had.
Well, that was just me, but that's a good miss.
That's a good miss.
Normally I hit a fade with my irons.
You still hit it 204 on a fade, on a miss. So let's pop yours up there. Let's see yours. So as your gamer iron, it's a traditional player's iron. It's not a player distance iron. So it's not going to, shouldn't go quite as far, but it still did because you just nuked it. Tried to hit that one a little harder.
Maybe.
Okay. Not
Definitely
bad.
gained some distance.
And you should. I mean, that's. But what's kind of cool, and we'll talk about stats here in a minute, is you didn't lose any height. You actually hit it just as high, if not slightly higher.
With which one?
With the FORGED TEC. So a player distance iron that the loft's a little bit stronger, but yet you hit it higher, not lower. So now we're going to go to the more distance enhanced version, the FORGED TEC X. Loft's a little bit more jacked up on this one, so this one might be crazy long for you. So in a player distance iron versus more of a player's iron is going to be like jumping off the ground. If I want to jump higher, I'm going to have to force myself to do that. Versus a player distance iron is kind of like jumping off a trampoline. The harder I try to bounce, the higher and farther it's going to go.
That was it. Oh, God, that's far.
Most people will be happy to hit that ball speed with their driver. You just hit it with a 7-iron. So your gamer was 107 feet in the air. Through 2 hits with this FORGED TEC X, which is a little bit stronger lofted, you're 112 feet.
Why'd they make this iron? Like what player type?
They made this iron, so this is more game improvement, but it's still got that player's look to it. So
It does.
It's a little bit bigger. It's got a little bit more offset than your typical FORGED TEC or more player-esque iron. It's going to have a thicker top line. It's going to have more offset. It's got less loft. It's got more juice to it. So this is for the wannabe player that they want a cool look and a good feel, but they probably still need a little extra help or a little extra distance. So that's where FORGED TEC X comes into play. This is an entirely new product for them.
Where does that one come into play?
So this is on the line of, this is generation 4 in their FORGED TEC. So they've just refined it each time, getting it better and better and better.
So that's a player distance iron?
This is what would be in a category I would call a player distance iron. So it looks really like a player's iron, same type of offset, a thinner top line than Forged Tec X, but it's not a blade thin. I mean, if we looked at a blade and compared it to Forged Tec X, it's going to be a little bit bigger. But in the back, they actually look
quite similar.
I've just taken a blade off the shelf here and comparing it to the back. So if you look at the back, you would think, oh my goodness, that's a blade. But if you look at the sole or the chassis size, which is where I'd like to look at it, there's a big difference between the two. And if I put them in a loft lie machine, we would see a big difference in loft too. Other way to look at it would be the top line. There's a reason why they call blades butter knives.
Ooh.
Oh, you held back on that one.
I did. I can't really move it because normally I hit a fade, right?
Correct. So because the sweet spot gets a little bit bigger, it's really designed to be a little bit more straighter. Again, it's designed for that game improvement person. That game improvement person probably doesn't want to work the ball as much. They just want to kind of hit it at the target. That's what they're trying to do. So that's where this golf club comes into play. Versus more of a player's iron where you have the sweet spot's a little bit smaller. It's designed for a little bit more workability.
Yeah.
This is not designed for workability. This is designed for feel, look, and distance. We could pull them all up there. The gamer, or his irons, Ian's irons, was the yellow. You can kind of see his miss hit was went a little bit shorter. That's okay. But from a numbers perspective, I mean, height-wise, his player's club did actually end up being the highest overall, but only by a couple of feet. So it's really pretty similar. The landing angles, again, pretty similar. Landing angles, what I'm looking for in an iron is 45 to 50 degrees. So having it almost 47, 48 degrees, 46 degrees, it's not like we're not giving up too much there. The biggest difference is going to be those spin numbers. So in a player's iron, it's designed to spin more. That's why it should have a little bit more height. So it's going to be the highest of the spins, but it's also the weakest of the lofts. So that's why it should spin a little bit more versus the player distance, irons 1 and 2, or a little bit more forgiving in the Tec X. It should spin the least amount. It's got the strongest lofts. And just the normal Forged Tec, just the normal player distance iron is going to kind of be in the middle of the two. So 5,600 there, 5,200 there, and 6,000 there. Distance-wise, we went from 201 in the actual Players Club to 213 in the Forged Tec X. So if you want to add some more wedges to your set, and that includes 2 of them that weren't hit as good, which were just a measly 210. The one that was hit on the screws was 218. So, what's that?
Speechless. No, I've only ever played the brand of my gamer irons. I've never actually tried COBRA before. And I think so. The Forged Tec actually, because it's very comparable spin numbers to my gamer. Anytime I could not aim as far left of the target and fade it is a good thing. So almost having a little bit more straight is always a good thing. And I really liked it. So one of the things I like to say is golf's hard. Yeah. Get the most forgiving golf club you can stand to look at. Because that's what it's about. Some people will say, I don't care what it looks like, I just want to be able to hit it. Trust me, you care at least a little bit. It might not be full. And I've had people say, oh, well, I don't care what it looks like. And by the end, they're like, well, I don't like the look of this one. There's reasons why you're going to like it and why you won't like it. The biggest difference for you would be just getting used to a little bit thicker top line, maybe a little bit more offset. Yeah. But the straighter part of it is certainly enticing. That's a big beneficial. But again, with irons, there's always
There's always compromise. What are you willing to give up for what do you really want?
Correct.
So that's why you got to hit some different things and see what you like or what you don't like.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest people to try this out though. That was a good feeling.
Correct. I think Cobra's got a good hit on their hands here. I mean, this one's really good. So this concludes another episode of WGC Fits. Thanks for tuning in.